Alright, here we are. So, by many requests on Instagram, I decided to finally do this and make a video about my pedalboard, my setup, the way I use my pedals, all that sort of stuff. It's gonna be pretty in-depth, so there will be markers down below for everything concerning the guitar, my amps, the way I use my amps, the pedals. So, as you can probably already tell, I am not a native English speaker. I'm from the Netherlands, but I'll do my best. And for everything that you didn't got a chance to grasp, leave something in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So, without further ado, let's just dive into what I use when I'm gigging and playing with all kinds of sorts of bands. So the guitar that I'm using today is my trustworthy Harmony Silhouette. It's a pearl white model, and it's been my main workhorse for I think about 2.5 years now. I really love this guitar. It's so great to play. It's incredibly well built as well. It's one of the more early models, which you can see here on the back of the headstock. You can see that it's still done by hand, which I believe they only do it with the early models. And it's got gold foil mini humbuckers that give me just the clarity that I want to cut through a dense mix, which often at times is the case in worship on modern pop music. And but it's also got the beef that I'm looking for sometimes when I just want to be a little bit more aggressive sound-wise. So yeah, it's a great guitar, and I use it on almost everything, and you've probably seen it on my Instagram as well. So the guitar, I figured, like, how we're gonna do this. Well, let's just start with the amps, because in my opinion, the amps and the combination of the guitar and the amps, that should make you excited to play, right? So if you need pedals to make yourself sound great, I think you're already battling against something that you don't want to be. So let's just start with the amps, and I'll just give you a quick sound of how that sounds like, so what that sounds like. So this is the guitar straight into my amps. So as you can tell, it's got a little bit of gain to it, which we will talk about later. But for starters, about the amps. So I'm using ToneX. I have been doing that for about 2 years now. And for me, this is the real modular option that brought me back to what it felt like playing with real amps. Still, there's no question about it. Real amps are better than pedals, but when you try to mic them and you're always playing with in-ears, I really couldn't tell the difference, and found out that using the modular was just so more stable and consistent. And now with the ToneX pedals, it actually gives me a feel of what it's like to have real amps on my ears. So why is that? It's because the ToneX pedals I have the two big ones, and they have just the full controls that I used to have with amps. So whenever I would hear something on the left side, could just walk towards it and tweak it. So, and the ToneX pedals let me do exactly the same thing. And not only does it have the controls, it reacts like a real amp as well. So in the past, I've tried to use the EHX Stomp or the Camper, and it sounded good, but whenever I wanted to change something, I had to go into menus and try to figure out, and I was never really interested in doing that on the fly. And this, I do it all the time. I'm constantly tweaking my amps during rehearsal and gigs, and even in the playing itself. So yeah, I'm really excited. For now, I'm running 2 profiles, one made by Dave Hislop and the guys over at Tone Factor. It's the 67 Vibrolux, and you can hear it on the left side. And on the right side, I'm using a Matchless Phoenix that was captured by Jake Fauber. And it was kind of a journey finding the right pairs, because what I found is that if you use different wattages of amps, they're gonna respond differently to your gains and your reverb. So yeah, it took me a while to figure out, all right, 40 watt is kind of where I want to be, and the combination of 40-ish watt amps is working well together. So yeah, just for reference, again, clean tone without any pedals on and my guitar. Yeah, like that. So with that cleared, we have the guitar now, we have my amps. The first pedal that my guitar hits on my board is the micro POG of the nano POG, I should say, by Electro Harmonix, and it does what a POG does. I know there's a 2 out there that is way bigger with way more controls, but for me it's kind of a one-trick pony. I use it mostly when I'm playing some kind of a lead line and I'm working towards that last bridge, and I just want to give it something a little bit extra. So in context, I'm going to use a lot of my other effects as well that I'm going to be speaking of later on. But let's say the line is something like this, and I'm playing something like... The POG then lets me add a little bit more to that. And especially within a dance mix, it always gives me the impression that there's a synth player which is doubling my part in the last round, which makes it sound huge and gives it that extra lift. So, and that's why I don't really want that bigger one, also because of the space on the board. But yeah, so that's the first one. And after the POG, we're going into the compressor. And as you could tell earlier, that my amps sound pretty gainy right now. And just to tame that a little bit, I use the compressor as an always on. So without just the amps. And when I engage the compressor, it becomes a little bit nicer, a little bit more rounded, a little bit more refined, as you will. And of course it does what a compressor does. It makes my loud touches a little bit softer and vice versa. So, but why this one? Well, I've tried a lot of compressors. I've done a lot of Keeley compressors over the years. I also had the Wolff audio, and they all didn't have an EQ circuit within the pedal, and this one does, and that makes me love it so much, because this is one of my main guitars, but I also have, as you can see behind me, I have a couple of Gretsch guitars, I've got some Stratocasters, so yeah, I'm constantly changing between pickups and styles of guitars, so being able to adjust my tone with some basic EQ on the front side of my signal is just huge for me. So yeah, I really love that pedal, and yeah, the guys over at Jackson Audio, they just make phenomenal pedals. So with the EQ engaged, my tone becomes a little bit softer again. So, and now we have, for me, like a really great clean tone to build my sound upon. So yeah, that's like the first slide. We've done the POG, now we've done the Bloom, and then we hit my first drive pedal. And like you all probably, I've been searching for the great drive pedals for so long, and I've tried so many combinations between JHS pedals and I don't know what I've used. I've tried so many things, and when I stumbled upon this one, which has a blues breaker and a tube screamer on either side, it solved the issue for me, and yeah, I just love this pedal. And often at times I use the blues breaker side. It's the Protein, by the way, by Browne Effects. I think it's the V3. I don't know, but the squeaky sound of my voice probably lets you hint that I just don't know. But I often at times use that blue side to give me just a little bit more of that refined edge of breakup that the amps had, but now it's a little bit more nicer, a little bit softer. So without. And with. as you can tell, it just gives it that little bit of a spice. And especially when I'm playing in more of a dense mix, it just lets me sit in the mix a little bit better. So yeah, that's and just with the other effects in some context. Let's say we add some reverb and delay, and just yeah, play something like I did earlier. Yeah, so you know, I'm already now I'm so tempted to just keep playing, because just for me this is just a great sound. So and having a second stage within the same pedal, yeah, it's just a dream come true, because they intertwine so greatly together. And when I've stacked them, the first stage and the second one. Yeah, it's everything that I want from a gain staging point of view. So yeah, the Protein, and just for taste, I have two other drives that I use depending on the guitar and style of song that I'm playing. I have the Garagetone Drivetrain that I use as a second stage drive for whenever I'm playing with my Strat. So it's gonna be sound a little bit darker than the Tube Screamer. But it helps with that single coil stuff that a Stratocaster does. So, and then as a sort of third stage, or maybe eighth stage, I don't know, this is like the Mayhem pedal. And I usually stack that on top of the first two. So I went from first to second. And then when I add this third drive pedal, which is the Silhoutte Twin 12 by Jackson Audio again, yeah, it just blows up things. And it gives your sound a little bit of a fuzzy overdrive, which is just great for when you want, like what I said, just when you want mayhem. So this is second stage and third. And as you could tell, you could already hear that sizzling, fuzzy kind of tone. And yeah, for certain parts, that just is just a great vibe. I remember playing something on Sunday that sounded like this. So yeah, so like it is with so many pedals, it's what the situation calls for, right? So yeah, 3 drive pedals, which are actually 4 drive pedals, because I've got one holds 2. Yeah, that's basically it for me with the drives. From that, I'm going into my Lehle. I've got the big one because I don't like small foot pedals. That's it. I've tried the Ernie balls like you did. I tried the lifelong strings like you did, and I broke them all. Probably like you did, or you're gonna do. And I actually have a cameraman smiling right now because he did the same thing. So yeah, I decided to throw those all the way, to send them to kids that needed them, and you know, I didn't want to do that anymore. So I bought this because it has a laser and it just doesn't break. I have never ever I have it now for 4 years, I think. I've never ever had issues with it. And yeah, they're a little bit more expensive, but if you have to buy one each year, think about it. Yeah, it's basic math. So yeah, when we are at the volume pedal, there's a tuner out, and it goes to my tuner because it's a tuner out. So, and I have an always-on tuner. So whenever I'm playing slide, or whenever I'm playing a part, I can always check whether I am in tune. You can hear the English kind of breaking up, right? So stay with me. We're gonna get through this, I promise. Yeah, so from the tuner out, we go into in the tuner, and then from that point on, we're gonna hit the modulation side of things. So as my modulation effects pedal, I'm currently using the Synestisia, which I absolutely love because it lets you use probably every modulation effect that you can think of, but you can use it in parallel. So you can, or in series, whatever you want, you can use two at once. And there's, to my knowledge, not a lot of pedals that can do that. So I've thought about getting the Mobius, but for me, I really love this. Also because it's got probably the best Dimension C chorus out there, other than the real one. But in other case, like if you want to send me $1,000 to get one, I'd love it. But until that point, this is what does it for me. So yeah, back to my clean tone with the first stage on. Like I said, I use it a lot like that. And with some chorus within there. So that's an example from what I do with the Dimension C pedal. It's got a great rotary sound as well. We all have to play praise once a Sunday ride, so yeah, we need that sound. And it does all kinds of other cool flanger and vibrato stuff, and yeah, tremolo. So whatever you need, it's in there. But for me, I'm becoming quite a chorus guy over the last year. So yeah. I really love it. I'm really digging it. So after that, we're splitting to stereo. So we already talked about the two amps, and yeah, from this point on, it's just two signals. So the first stereo pedal then is this one, and after that, we're hitting the Timeline. We all know that pedal because we all play worship music, I guess. And even like if you do a great pop gig. It's a great pedal, and it does what it says. It delays things. So, and it's not really much more to talk about it. It sounds like this. I already used it a while back. Yeah, that's what it does. So, in the context of some sounds, so. Yeah, you could adjust the mix a little bit, like to stick it out a little bit more. Sometimes when the part asks for it, I'll use a stereo kind of thing, so do an eighth note on the left and a dotted eighth on the right, or something like that. But oftentimes I'll just stick with a clear, little bit tapey sound of a delay that you just heard. To keep it on the darker side of things, make some texture behind your part. Yeah, I guess like the real clear delays that we heard in early Hillsong, I guess that's a little bit less now. So yeah, I tend to go for that. And it's just as simple as I just said it. The only thing that I use with it is the Gecko MK3 by One Control, just to let me scroll through those banks. Because on a Sunday, sometimes you have a very quick switch from the one song to the next. And yeah, it's just great to be able to hit a pedal and just switch to another preset. And I load them all in there whenever I have a gig, and it suits me great. It's probably the first pedal that I would change right now, and I'm kind of thinking about it. But again, it delays things, right? So for now, it does what it says, and I'm happy with it. So it's cool for now. Yeah. So we done some modulation. We did some delay. Let's just go to the big banger, right? Because I've used it already. Maybe you have it. Like I see them everywhere, and it's not because of nothing, because it's just a great pedal, the Big Sky by Strymon. And boy, have I tried to part with this. And every I don't know, month or quarter or so, it just grabs me back and says, nope, I'm not leaving you, you're not leaving me. This is a great marriage, and yeah, I can't say bad things about this pedal. Like, it's sturdy, it never breaks, it sounds incredible, especially the cloud and the bloom. That does something that I have never heard anywhere else, and I use it all the time. The way I use it is pretty simple, actually. It looks like a big board, but I'm not that MIDI kind of preset kind of guy. I like to do it on the fly, like a little bit in like the old days. So the way I use it right now, like, it's got 3 banks, and in whatever bank I am, I always have a swell preset on the C side, on the right side. We'll get to that, but on the middle and the left, there's always 2 reverbs, and one is always a bigger one and the other one is a smaller one. So whenever I'm playing like a typical worship song, I tend to have a really big reverb on the left. And a little bit less of a reverb on the middle. And with the swell one on the C side, yeah, basically that lets me play every part there is to play in a song. So I'm not the kind of guy that makes a preset for this song and then a preset for that song. I like my sounds to be a little bit more consistent, and yeah, sometimes I get motivated and I tweak them, and or I install some new ones, but for now this is kind of what I use. So if I'm playing a worship song, I have a big one, I have a middle one, and I have a swell one. And my other banks are just filled with more jazzy oriented sounds or more pop or rock, but it's always got that swell because you never know what's gonna happen, right? So whatever is happening after that song, it's always great to go into that more ambient texture kind of thing. So yeah, and that swell verb, sometimes I use that more as in the way to play a more more textural picky part behind a keys intro or something, which potentially could sound like this. And what I'm basically doing here is that I'm taking that swell verb and I roll off almost all the tone on the guitar, which makes it a little bit more like a synthy kind of thing, like a bass synth or like a pad synth. And yeah, I just use that massive cloud of reverb to make more textural part behind whenever a keys player do something like an intro or something like that. I stumbled upon that because I switched wrong one day and I was like, wow, this actually sounds pretty good. So, and you can use that with chorus and it just adds up. Like that. So it's always great to just to stumble upon new creative things like that by making an error and discovering something great, right? So yeah, I guess we're pretty far by now because we did like the whole chain, we did the amps, we talked a little bit about why these amps, what wattages they are and how they work together. We did the drive thing, we did the POG, we did some chorus, delay and reverb. From this I'm running stereo into the amps, so you could hear like the disformation of the tone a little bit and the more like the overdriven side of that, and that's just because of the massive amount of reverb that's hitting the amps in the front, and it's just like normal amps, right? So that's just great about the ToneX. What's also great, because they are like real amps, whenever I'm using a British-American combination, I have to be able to switch the phase because they are wired differently, and if you just use them stereo, the woofers or the emulation of the woofers, they will become in phase instead of working together, which results in a lot of phasing issues like having no low end, and yeah, that's not what you want. So from the ToneX, I'm running into the Goodwood audio interfacer, and from there I'm just going stereo into my interface, and that lets you hear everything that you've just heard. But that interfacer is a pretty big pedal whenever you're using ToneX, because yeah, sometimes it just flips the phase, and then what you're gonna do, right? So sometimes you have to work with your audio engineer, but he's got a busy time as well. So I like to have the control over that myself. And also, it's just one big mute button. So when everything goes down and I just have to dance instead of play, I can just hit it and the sound's gone. And whenever I unmute it, it also continues, so the trill stays there. So yeah, the whole board is like I think it's a Tempo Audio 28th or something like that. It's the big one, the one that makes you hurt your back a little bit. But you know, I have a lot of pedals. So and underneath is just I think I have now the big Strymon and the Ojay. You know, the one that nobody ever knows how to pronounce. But yeah, that's powering everything from underneath, and I guess that's basically it. So. It was quite a journey. I'm still talking, and we did it in one take. Yay! Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit more work, but you know, I hope this is an inspiring video to you about how you could set up your gear, about the choices that I made, and how I stumbled upon those choices. The way I use my pedals, I hope it's a little bit different than what you are doing, so you get inspired by using your pedals to do different things. And you know, if you have any questions, just hit the comment section down below. If you like it, you could do the whole YouTube thing by liking and subscribing to my page. And yeah, I hope we can get in touch. And whenever I have some other cool stuff to tell you or to show you, you can check out the next videos. And yeah, I hope it inspired you. So cheers and have a good one.